dicks, put me to your lips. I am sick. I will punch a baby bear in his shit. Give me lip. I'ma send you to the yard. Get a stick, make a switch. I can end the conversation real quick. I am crack. I ain't lying. Kick a lion in this crack. I'm the shit. I will fall off in your crib. Take a shit. Hit your mama on the booty. Kick your dog. Fuck your bitch. That boy dressed up like you Santa and took pictures with your kids. We the best. We will cut a frowny face in your chest, little wench. I'm unmeasurably fresh. I'm a bitch. You're correct. I will walk into a court while it wrecks, screaming, yes, I am guilty, motherfuckers. I am death. Hey, you wanna hear a good joke? Nobody speak, nobody get choked. Start pumping your players, I'm coming. I'm the dumbest who flame through your fuck shit to funyuns. Flame your crew quicker than Trump fucks his youngest. The face of flame fuckers, your fame and fate's gone with all Charlie Brown, Peppermint, Patty, Linus, and Lucy. Put dope in the doobie, roll movies to smoke with Snoopy. I still remain that dick rabbit slacker to spill the wookie. Cause the total of the toolie will murder you friggin' movies. Fuck out of here. Yeah.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Just a little taste of a tune I've been addicted to since yesterday. DJ Shadow, when he had an album called Introducing that came out, I think it was 1996 or 1997, it took a lot of the world by storm, maybe? I don't know. It took a lot of us by storm, a lot of me and my friends. We were addicted to that album. It was so great. He was a kind of hip-hop producer, big-time crate digger, lots of, like, spent his life in record shops and hunting and digging, and put out this amazing album that was kind of different from a lot of the stuff that we'd been hearing at the time. I had no idea that he had something new out, and I can't remember how I came upon it. Yesterday, a special sexy lady friend and I were kind of heading down a YouTube rabbit hole and listening to a bunch of music, and stumbled on it in one of the sidebars. Run the Jewels is Killer Mike and LP. Killer Mike I don't have much of a history with, but LP used to run a record company called Def Jux out of New York, and it was probably around the same time, the mid to late 90s. And he had guys like Aesop Rock and Cannibal Ox, as well as his own music on that label. And it was a really, really great underground hip-hop label. They were putting out some really great stuff. It had a bit of a harder edge. It had a little bit of a darker edge. But this DJ Shadow featuring Run the Jewels, Nobody Speak video, first of all, is incredible. But the tune is amazing. It's a really, really solid track. They performed it on Jimmy Fallon, so if you want to see something extra, go and search the Jimmy Fallon live performance. They got a couple of guys on horn playing live as well. And the fact that DJ Shadow, after all this time, is on a big late night talk show, and same with LP, is pretty mind-blowing to me anyway. Really, really great track. The video is spectacular. That was just a taste of it. Something else that I've been into, I saw this yesterday. Let me screen share again here. Let me just sort this out with a couple of clicks of the button. Start screen share. There you go. So this is Czarface. And it's a Benjamin Mara cover. And Benjamin Mara, of course, I know through all sorts of comics and his own kind of comic company, Traditional Comics. So this was on the shelf when I was Christmas shopping yesterday, sitting up on the wall, basically at one of the local record stores, and just kind of standing out from everything around it. I don't know anything about Czarface until I came home and did some research. It's the third album, and I will open another window here and we'll see. So it's a collaborative studio albums. I think there's 3 of them. Inspector Deck from Wu-Tang, underground hip-hop duo 7L and Esoteric, who I don't know at all. But I guess for this newest album, kind of came out of Marvel approaching them to give them some songs for something. What was it that what character was it? I can't remember if it was like Luke Cage and Iron Fist, or was it, I don't know. There is a bit of a backstory. I'm sorry, I don't have all the information with me right here, but came home and it's on YouTube. You can listen to the tracks and stuff, and it sounds incredible. It's a really, really solid album as well. So I have a feeling with any Christmas money that I get, I'll be rushing out to pick this sucker up and any other Czarface albums that I find. We'll close this up here. Stop that. Come back to me. There we go. Tat's Comics. Hello, Tat. How the heck are you? Let me just coordinate my windows here. So, as you can see by the title, the main reason I was doing this is I wanted to talk about the comics that I'm going to be looking for in 2017, which, stand by. Let me grab the lists here. But before we do that, let's maybe, as I was Christmas shopping this week, there was a couple of deals that I found for myself that I couldn't pass up. One was this that I was really surprised to see for $12. Lost Cause by Jack Jackson, who you'll know from a few of my videos on Underground Comics. This is a kitchen sink publication there. When it came out, it was what, $16.95. I got it for $12. He later on in his career, before he passed away, he was doing a lot of kind of historical comics. White Comanche being one that I've read digitally that I really loved, and then he's got a few more as well. Here's a look through that sucker. So this one is about the true story of famed Texas gunslinger John Wesley Hardin. I don't know the name. I don't know any of the history. I haven't started reading it yet, but because it's Jack Jackson, I couldn't pass it up. Where does it say? First printing May 1998 is when this came out. So that'll be really great. Still in really nice shape. Like I said, very surprised to find that. Especially in this particular shop that I went to that day. And then yesterday I went to pick up some things from Mr. Tom, and I went to Galaxy to have a look through some things from Mr. Tom. And upstairs they have a discount bin of a bunch of graphic novels, both softcover and hardcover. And I found ABC Warriors, the solo missions, for $6 measly bucks. Originally £13.99 in the UK, so a good kind of $26 Canadian book for $6 measly dollars, and it's beautiful. A few different stories. I've read the first couple already, and they're really, really great. This kind of UK sci-fi era of stuff I've talked about before, with like Nemesis the Warlock and Slain the Barbarian and things like that. And then, of course, the Judge Dredd things that people know that I haven't really dug into too much. Check out that art. It's unbelievable. There's something about the tone and the kind of darkness of the stories and the crazy art and the worlds they create that really are appealing to me these days. I feel like I've really grown into this style of both writing and art. And then, of course, the last story is all black and white, very Nemesis the Warlock looking, some of it. So yeah, that was a great score for $6. There's a look at some other pages there. A really, really fantastic score for $6, and a pretty easy read. The other one is a little more of a dense read, I think. So that one's going to take me a little more time to get through. Cheers. Happy Merry and all that jazz. So I thought the first thing we would do is take a look at the top 10 for 2016 list. As you can see, there's quite a lot of things I managed to just scratch off the list. A few of the Daredevil titles, a number of the Doctor Strange. Flesh and Bones featuring Dalgota, I managed to finish that off. Scarlet Traces, thanks to Rez, both Scarlet Traces and Treehouse of Horror managed to get crossed off the list. Miracle Man, Shaolin Cowboy, #1 from Burly Man. Really great to find that sucker. X-Man with X-Ray Eyes from Gold Key, found online, and that was a really nice score. And I just had a very broad want of underground comics, which I just, if you've been watching my videos or if you've been watching my videos for any length of time, you know that I beat the hell out of that one. I think over this year I may have accumulated another short box, maybe a little bit more, just of undergrounds, just from various little conventions, from ordering online, that sort of thing. Fear Agent, finished that series off. That was the last issue. I need to have all the Fear Agent stuff in singles, so that was really good. And then as for, so I thought it was a pretty attainable goals for the most part. And it was fun. It was kind of nice to focus the collecting a little bit. I mean, obviously it didn't just stick to that. It was all over the place. There was a bunch of other things too, but it was nice to have some miniseries finished, or just some books that I'd been thinking about for a while finally attained. I thought it was a really good way to just kind of approach my collecting for the year. And I've started seeing that there's a couple of people that have been putting out top 10s of 2017 lists. So I thought I'd kind of jump on board and just copy those people. So no surprise for the first few. Daredevil 158, doing things a little bit different this year, trying to be more specific and maybe also cut down on the amount of things that end up on this list. Daredevil number 168. Doctor Strange, Doctor Strange number 169, Doctor Strange number 177, and Doctor Strange 181. So those are leftovers from the previous year's list, but instead of putting them in 1 and 2 position, I figured I'd spread them out a little bit because they're going to be big books. Our Fighting Forces number 123, from what I understand, is that the first comic featuring the Losers. Now, I've been kind of collecting the Losers titles throughout the year, so it's this one would be great because it's the first appearance, but it's also a reminder to me of I'd like to get more of the books. The few that I've read so far, I really enjoy quite a bit. I never really thought I'd like war comics that much, as I've said before in a video, but it would be great to have that one in the collection. So kind of a holdover from the previous list to some degree. Dennis Fujitaki is the artist of Dalgota, and he's a hell of an artist, and he hasn't done a lot throughout his career. So when I was looking today on Comic Vine, I think it was Comic Vine is what it's called, just kind of trying to get a sense of what he has out there, what he's contributed to. I have one previous magazine of this Nightmare. I think it was one of them that was my birthday comics sort of collection, because I think it's the April 1973 one, I believe. I don't know if that's true, but I see that he has one story in this single issue. And Nick lately has been talking about magazines in some of his videos, ETA Nick. And there's something that I'm always attracted to, and I do see them around. I haven't seen this specific one, but I have seen horror magazines around at some of the conventions. So it would be great to get my hands on this, to see some of his maybe earlier work. But he's a guy that I'd like to just collect a lot more of in general, because his style and his coloring is so nice. It's really in my wheelhouse of stuff that appeals to me for sure. Rez reads, how the heck are you? And then it gets a little wilder with number 8. Death Rattle is a great underground series. Volume 1, I think, was just the 3 issues, which I have all of. There was a volume 3 as well, but I'm 4 issues away from having, I think there was only 14 issues of volume 2. I'm 4 issues away from having them all. So these got added to the list: 1, 8, 10, and 13. Earl Grey, holy crap. Hello, everybody. How the heck are you guys? Nice to see you. Thanks for joining. So So those four, I think are, again, they're fairly attainable. I know that with one email, I can probably have all four of them, but I want to try to see if maybe I can get lucky and find these at a convention. There is the guy in Steinbach, Manitoba, who has Comic World, and I'm blanking on his name. I can't remember. Anyway, he has a lot of underground comics, so chances are I'll be able to find them from him. And he's also got a deal. When I've contacted him in the past, he comes into Thirsty's flea market every once in a while, which is literally like a 2-minute drive or less from my house. And he said he could deliver them there and we could do the exchange there and I could pay him there and stuff. So I have a feeling these are really attainable. This one is on the list. I don't know if it's a realistic thing to have on the list because of the kind of collector's fury around it. Marvel Feature #1, which of course is the first appearance of the Defenders. I have Marvel Feature #2, their second appearance. When I saw this one at the big comic convention, it was going for ridiculous prices that there was no way in hell I was ever going to pay. And even talking to a couple of the vendors, they were saying that people were just kind of getting crazy with it. The potential or the looming threat of the TV show, I think, has people running in droves to some of this stuff, and their prices are reflecting that. So, and then finally is Brave and the Bold #31. Again, this is something yes, it would be great to have this one, but it's also something to remind me to keep an eye out for this series. Cave Carson, this is the Cave Carson first appearance in Brave and the Bold. I have issue #40 already, and I really enjoyed it. That era, as I've said a million times in the past, that era of DC doesn't really, it's not something that I know very well. So stuff like this is not only a reminder to me to keep checking out some older DC stuff, like Brave and the Bold, but just keeping an eye out for older DC stuff, period. Things that I contemplated putting on this list when I was writing it were things like the old Spectre series or Dead Man and stuff like that. But that's more of or the Creeper, Steve Ditko's Creeper is a miniseries I'd really like to get as well. Yeah, it would be great to kind of dig into some of the old DC past. And I mean, I've been liking the Cave Carson book so far. And like I said, the older one that I do have, I really enjoyed. I thought it was a fun book. I like the look of those early DC books, cover and everything. Cammy, how the hell are you? Hey, T, sup, everybody. Reader 1717, Earl Grey, Res Reads, holy crap, and possibly Tat's Comics. I don't know if Tat is still here. So that's pretty much the end of it. And then I just made myself a note about the final Miracle Man's issues that I was missing, which is quite a few. I would like to get all the Eclipse issues of Miracle Man. What I've read so far, I'm a huge fan of. I think it's great. It would be nice to own that the series in floppies and not the reprinted versions and not like a collected version or anything. So I don't know. I think I have a pretty attainable top 10 list for 2017. I know, Cammy, you did a video just kind of about collecting goals in general. It wasn't necessarily a top 10. Pardon me. It wasn't necessarily a top 10 list. I haven't finished watching the whole thing. I was watching some videos today. Yesterday was kind of officially my first day off. Our movie just finished shooting on Sunday. And so yesterday was the first official day off, and I had to go in for a couple hours today just to unload a truck. So I took full advantage of it yesterday and lay in bed, and even this morning lay in bed and just watch some YouTube videos, which was so nice to do. I'm hoping over the holiday I can kind of catch up a little bit. Does anybody else, are you guys doing a top 10 list? Those of you who are watching Earl Grey, Res Reads, Captain Deadpool, hello, how are you? Thank you very much. Yes, I think it's quite a list. We'll see how it goes. Cammy's saying, yes, she's just thinking about where I want my collection to go in the future, which totally makes sense. And I think that's as much fun as this kind of thing is. I like kind of seeing people's lists and talking talking about the big books that they want to get and that sort of thing. And it's kind of nice as a collector to have this, for me anyway. I think it's fun having a list like this of stuff that I really want to keep my eyes out for. But it's the same. I agree with you for what you're saying, that not only is it a chance to finish off some of the series that I really should just focus on and complete them so I can read them from beginning to end. But it's just about opening other avenues of books that I'd like to explore in the future. Yeah, I need to finish what I've started, so nothing too new is what Cami is saying. Yeah, so that's pretty much my list. What else can I tell you? This movie was pretty good. As far as it was a fun shoot. We worked on the weekend, and here in Winnipeg we had wind chill warnings and cold weather warnings for about minus 41 degrees Celsius. It doesn't sound as bad as it was, or it sounds worse than it actually was, is what I'm trying to say. We were shooting in a park on the ice, and we were kind of down in a little bit of a valley, so what little wind was there, which was about maybe a 5 km/h wind, we were completely blocked from. And it actually was a really, really beautiful day. We were shooting some figure skaters on the ice. And it was really crisp, but there was no wind. And if you were bundled up, it was fine. The actors were the ones that had the most issues, but there was a nice warm-up house right near us so they could run in and kind of get heated. It turned out to be a beautiful 2 days. It was amazing to be there. We were outside all day since about, I think we started at 6:15, 6:30, something like that. And then we were there till about 6 o'clock or so, or 5 o'clock. So 12, 11 hours, 11, 12-hour days. And it was a lot of fun. The movie in general, I'm really excited to see it, which is a rare thing for me to say. Because for the most part, the movies aren't really my thing. And it's not that this one story-wise was kind of my thing, although it's not something I wouldn't watch. It's just the look of it was so great. The cinematographer was so great, such a wonderful guy and such a talent that the stuff that we were shooting was mind-blowing. The framing and the use of the dolly shots and the way everything was being structured and the time he was taking was incredible. His name is Pedro Luque, and he did a movie called Don't Breathe, which is the biggest one that people might know that has come out recently. I believe he's going on to do the next Girl with a Dragon Tattoo. I know that he had a couple of scripts come across his table kind of near the end of our show. Yes, Earl Grey, lots of dolly shots. Most of it was on a dolly, and most of it was really framed nicely. There was a little bit of steady cam. Was there maybe 1 or 2 shots handheld, but I don't even think there was much of that. In the final product, it's going to be a lot of composed kind of shots, as opposed to, here's a camera, just put it on your shoulder and go crazy because we want everybody to feel like they're there. It's like, no, we want you to know that you're watching this family. We want you to know that you're watching a movie. We want the moves to be specific. One of the houses that we shot in was a multi-million-dollar house here in Winnipeg, and the architecture of it was really modern and really angular, with a fantastic spiral staircase right down the middle. So just utilizing that space properly and knowing how to frame that house and knowing how to keep the straight lines and knowing how to use the curves with dolly shots. There was a fantastic one where we follow her coming down the stairs and the dolly is moving around the staircase. So when you're looking at it on the screen, it has this really disconcerting kind of corkscrew effect where you can feel everything twisting. You're watching this world kind of twist. Really, really great. There's a lot of good kind of subtext within the shots of how the character is changing throughout the story. Yeah, so I mean, it's something that I just don't get a chance to work on that much because the one I did before that was kind of a Hallmark Christmas movie we do all sorts of shit here that is just not really stuff. It's not that it's unwatchable. It's just, it's not my taste. I'm sure they have their own fans and things, and people love the movies, which is fantastic. I'm happy for that. It's just nothing that's really, I felt really invested in this. We had some rigs that we built for some stuff on the ice so we could mount cameras on platforms and they could be moved around the ice on hockey pucks, that sort of thing. It was just nice to work on something where I felt like I wanted to contribute, as opposed to just doing the very basic. I wanted to kind of contribute a little more. So Don't Breathe is great. I'm glad you think so, Captain Deadpool. I haven't seen it yet. I've seen the trailer, and it looks interesting. I'd like to see it now because of Pedro, for sure. And Rogue One, a couple of people I know that have just seen that, and they've really raved about it and how seamlessly it kind of folds right into Star Wars: A New Hope. They thought was fantastic. So I'm looking forward to seeing that one as well. I don't know when we're going to go to see it, but I'd like to see it sooner than later, I think. We're going away at the end of the year for New Year's, actually, to a chalet in the White Shell, kind of a little further north, Manitoba. Staying there for 3 nights, which is going to be kind of our Christmas present, or my Christmas present to my wife. And we're taking our daughter, and it has like a hot tub, and there's a wood burning stove inside, and it's going to be fantastic. We're really looking forward to it. So what else can I tell you? Yeah, I mean, Behind the Glass is what it's called now. I'll let you know if it does change the title, but I would recommend giving it a little peek. When the trailers do start coming out, I'll be sure to let people know on my channel, and it'll be fun. Yeah, the chalet is going to be a lot of fun. I took her there on her birthday while she was pregnant with our daughter, and we loved it. We really loved it. And apparently, when I came back and told my family about it, apparently when I was really, really young, a few years old, we went to the same place too, which I think is mind-blowing. And I think that there's a couple of pictures of me running around in the snow at the same place that we're going to. So when we were there for her birthday, she was just absolutely taken by it. She loved it. So it was one of those things that she had talked about wanting to come back in the winter. So I surprised her with hey, I just booked us. And it was strange because I booked it kind of a little too late. I gave them a few different dates, both this month and in January, that we had some time free. And they said, actually, if you want something over New Year's, we have a chalet that's available. We're actually not very full this year. It's a smaller place in not Inverness Falls. Is that what it is? I'm blanking on the name, of course, because I'm smart like that. And much to our surprise, they had something available over New Year's, so I snatched it up as quickly as I could. And it's going to be a great way to spend a few days. I've always wanted to spend a Christmas at a chalet or a cabin. Yeah, so have I. I've never done it. We've never really rented cabins. Growing up, we always had trailers, and now that I have a family of my own, we camp a lot, but it's always tenting. A cabin has never really been something that I've really wanted, just because I like the roughing it of tenting and the ability to kind of set up camp somewhere where you normally can't, like on the edge of water and stuff like that. So, but I admit I'm pretty damn excited. The more I think about it, and we were looking at the photos and talking about it, the more I think about it, the more excited I am, especially with a wood burning fireplace in there, or stove rather, is going to be really great. We've got a bundle of wood in the garage that we can bring with us. Anyway, I think that's about it. I don't really have anything else to talk to you about. So I hope everybody is doing well, and I hope you all have a fantastic holiday, however you celebrate it. Looking forward to it, actually. It's crept up on us really quick. I finished my Christmas shopping, and we're ready to go. Thanks very much for watching. If you do have a top 10 list, I'd love to see videos. If anybody posts anything, Earl Grey, it would be great to see a top 10 if there's anything you want. Same with you, Rez and Deadpool. So thank you very much. Check out DJ Shadow and Run the Jewels. Check out Czarface as well. Have a listen to those albums. Little bit more of a old school hip hop type vibe to them, but really, really worth it. Especially that Run the Jewels and DJ Shadow is a phenomenal song. Have a dig for it on the Jimmy Fallon Show. You won't be disappointed. Thanks very much, everybody. We'll talk to you